Hey everybody, Tim here. Welcome back to the channel. I got a nice little 9-ball drill for you. It's all about gaining position on the Moneyball. First thing I'd like to say is I actually saw Brian do this drill on his YouTube channel on FXBilliards. So he's got a lot of great content as well. I highly recommend you check out his channel. And let's get started. The setup is simple. You just put the 9 on the spot and put the 7 and 8 ball just randomly behind the 9 ball, as you can see here. And you don't have to use the 7 and the 8. You can use any 2 balls and sink them in any order you want, as long as you sink the 9 ball last. I like to use the 7 and 8 and sink them in order, just so it's a little bit more challenging. This drill will actually teach you a lot about a ton of different shots for getting position on the 9 ball when you're playing a rack. And you just take ball in hand and try and run out the 3 balls. The great thing about this drill is that in pool you really need to be thinking 3 balls ahead all the time. Yeah. So when I'm shooting the 7, I'm trying to figure out where I want to be on the 8 to get a good position on the 9. And the 9 is on the spot because in 9 ball, quite often the 9 ball will actually stick right there by the spot when you break. And by throwing the 7 and 8 just randomly behind the 9, make sure that you're going to have completely different patterns to run out every time. And I think this goes for any drill or really any practice session. If you find yourself struggling with a certain shot, I highly recommend you sticker that shot up and just shoot it over and over until you really don't have to think about it anymore. And trust me, that will make a huge difference in your game. I mean, there are countless number of shots that can come up, so every one that you can get into your muscle memory and not have to think about is just going to improve your game overall. I also do another variation of this, which you'll see here in a second, where the 9 is on the spot. I put the 7 ball behind the 9 and I put the 8 ball randomly up in the kitchen. This forces you to go up and down the table for position play. So from the 7 you have to go all the way to the opposite end of the table for a shot on the 8 and then back down for the 9. So this does add a level of difficulty, obviously, but it's also very important because a lot of times the last numbered ball before the 9 ends up at the opposite end of the table, and you really need to know how to get back and forth up and down the table. As you can see here, I really just grab the balls and throw them, and wherever they lay, that's where I keep them, other than the 9 goes on the spot, of course. If the ball crosses the line, then I do it again just to try and keep it in the kitchen and behind the 9 there. And if this is all too easy for you, first of all, that's great. Congratulations on your game. And second, you can always add more balls. You can also do things when you're shooting the 7, 8, 9 all in the same area at the one end of the table. You can implement a rule where you can't cross half table, that kind of stuff. All those things just add to the level of difficulty. And like I've said in my other videos, you can usually make any drill as hard or as easy as you want to make it. So you just have to find the level that challenges you but isn't difficult enough that you're never going to be able to do it. You want to be able to complete the drill sometimes, or otherwise you're going to get frustrated and you won't feel like you're accomplishing anything. And as you can see just from watching me do this drill here, that the variations of shots that you get for position play, it's quite extreme. Like you can literally get hundreds and hundreds of different shots that you need to be able to pull off to get to the next ball. So I really recommend you practice this drill, and I have no doubt that it's going to help your game tremendously. I'd really like to hear from you guys what kind of drills that you do that have helped your game in the past, or things you're working on now. I do look for drills online sometimes, and most of the time I just do my best to come up with something and try and create my own drills and figure out how to adjust the levels of difficulty, etc. But I'm always looking for new drills and new exercises to help improve my game. And if you do try this drill, just set it up and give yourself a goal. Try and run 5 patterns in a row before missing. And if you can only do 2, then just keep track of where you're at and practice it 10 or 15 minutes every time you get down to the table. And before you know it, you'll be able to run the patterns 5 times in a row, and then maybe 10 times in a row. I'm telling you, it's definitely effective, and it will change your game. Lately, when I've been doing this drill, I'm just adding the 6 on the center of the table. It's just one more ball and one more shot that you need to pull off to complete the run, and just adds a little bit more difficulty and a little bit more of a challenge. And that's going to do it for the drill. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section. I read them all the time. And if you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see in the future, that would also be great information. And until next time, I just want to say thanks very much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. A big thank you to Brian at FXBilliards for showing me this drill. I use it all the time. It's been very effective. And other than that, till next time, take care everyone, and happy cueing.